Welcome to Paul Steiger's Sussex Airshow 1994. This year features the Misty Blues all-woman skydiving team, with each member having from 1,000 to 4,000 jumps to her credit. The team leader, Sandy Williams, has organized the last 3 official women's world records for a mass jump. Built by him, Jim Roberts performs in his Laser 200 and in the gracious Long Easy, which his son Josh helped him to build. Jim Franklin takes off from his busy Hollywood schedule to show us his skills in his 600 horsepower Waco, and then comes back with the wing walking of Lee Ullman. Roger Leonard, as the farmer, puts on a comical demonstration of just how amazing and adaptive both he and his vintage stock Piper J3 Cub are. Then he too comes back to land his Cub on the top of a pickup truck. Oscar Bosch and his sailplane performance, The Wings of Man, gives us a look at just how far one can go without powered flight. All new to Sussex this year is the Red Baron Stearman Squadron. This team of 4 full-time airshow performers make it look all so easy. But don't try to do these maneuvers at home. The sometimes automated Paul Ordini, with the world's only aerobatic ultralight performance, tries to put one over on us. But he didn't fool me for long, I don't think. A stealth flyby of the F-117 fighter, known to us for its outstanding performance in the Gulf War, will give us a brief glimpse of what it looks like. Bobby Yunkin, who brings us his Samson, the amazing 450 horsepower Pitts, built by Steve and Liz Wolfe to recreate an aircraft from the 1940s by Curtis Pitts. Also, for the first time at Sussex, the 5-time member of the U.S. aerobatic team, the top-ranked woman pilot since 1987, the first woman to gain the U.S. National Aerobatic Championship, competing against both men and women, and has held it for the past 3 years, Patty Wagstaff. The romantic teamwork of the French Connection, known and loved by millions of people internationally, these newlyweds have been a great crowd pleaser for years. The winners of the 1993 Art Show Memorial Showmanship Award will do their canopy-to-canopy flight right in front of you. The only 7-time U.S. aerobatic champion and 1980 world champion, Mr. Leo Loudenslager, and his Bud Light Laser 200 returns home. And don't miss the many, many warbirds completing this air show, known to the world over as the biggest little air show. So sit back, fasten your seatbelts, and remember, we are not responsible for air sickness. And now, our air show announcer, direct from the National Warplane Museum in Geneseo, New York, Mr. Bill Lau.
Jim Roberts at your left. I see smoke there. And over at the right, I see Leo Loudenslager and the Bud Light Laser 200. Jim is on the roll. Power coming up on the right. Here comes Leo. Smoke is on. Jim is off the ground. Leo is off the ground. For him, that's way up in the air. Ladies and gentlemen, we are just about there. Watch them at the center as they pass on knife edge. And inverted out to either side and rolling it right back up to the right side. Ladies and gentlemen, we're underway at Sussex for 1994. Now let's watch as our 2 pilots go out to either end of the airfield, pull back on that stick, hit those G's in the bottom. Gradually the airspeed bleeds off as we go straight up in the air, trading off that speed for altitude. Get right up in there, just about stop flying, punch that rudder, and over we come with a hammerhead turn. And right back down they come again. They haven't seen enough of each other. They're going to have another little meeting right out front here. Each guy looking for the other guy's smoke trail, saying, where are you? I see me. Where are you? Where are you? Whoa, there you are. Get so excited they pull back on the stick again, and over the top they go, inverted this time. Hard enough to see where you are when you're right side up. Here they are inverted. Passing on the way down. There comes Leo in the red and white plane. Jim Roberts in the blue and yellow laser. As both our air show openers do their loop right smack in front of you. Back out to the other side. Pull back, rolling all the way up. And a Humpty Bump out over the top. Watch Leo now. Hanging on it, hanging on it, hanging on it. See the wind making him drift up there. Back over the top he comes with his Humpty Bump. Jim is already on the way down. Leo diving to gain speed. Working that throttle on the way down. Once again, everybody level out, heading for show center. Make sure you're on the right line, guys. Yo, snap roll side by side. Woo! And once again, at each end of the airfield, back on the stick. Up in the air goes Leo. Up in the air goes Jim. Over the top. Heading back in towards center. They're going to try for a 5/8 loop. Notice he was inverted coming down. And actually what you got here is half cubic 8 on each side of the field. And there comes Leo. And there comes Jim. And there they go side by side. Now watch. Each guy is going to do 5/8 of a loop here. Well, they've decided instead to take it right straight up in the air and just hang it there on the prop. Humpty bump out. The wind is a very, very big factor, as you can see, when you're flying aerobatics. You see those planes hanging still in the air and just drifting in that wind. Kind of keeps life interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, that's just the opener. What do you think of Leo Laudenschlager and Jim Roberts? Turning down the wind, if you will. Actually turning upwind for the jumpers. Right over my head. How many of you are laying on your back looking at this? I am. She got her foot on the step. And she's away. You can see her falling out the back of the airplane. The chute comes open. Got a good canopy. And all the jumpers are coming out. As you can see, there's the others out. Free falling. Gone for that terminal velocity of 120 miles an hour. There's the two of them. They had linked hands for a while. There's one canopy. And there's the other. We have 3 good canopies. And Sandy has unfurled that flag. There comes the flag. And now that she has the flag out, she's going to begin to come down a lot more quickly because that flag weighs somewhere in the neighborhood of 60 or 70 pounds. Plus it has a big weight on the bottom of it. And ladies and gentlemen, on the ground, safe and sound, Sandy Williams and the Misty Blues. And we're going to hand it right over to Jerry. Jerry Van Kempen, tell them what's up next.
Thank you, Bill. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready to have all kinds of fun. Because we're going to turn our attention to, in my opinion, one of the most talented guys ever to get in an airplane. Yesterday, I asked the crowd the same thing I'm going to ask you today. If you haven't seen Jimmy Franklin fly, raise your hand. If you've never seen him fly, let me see how many of you. Well, you see, not very many. So those of you that have never seen him are in for the thrill of your life. If you have seen him, you know what a thrill you're in for. Because nobody in this world flies like Jimmy Franklin, with a vintage airplane that's all hopped up, specially made by Jimmy Franklin. The mystery Waco, ladies and gentlemen, from the left, he snaps it. And take off a great big hairy roll right in front of you. Watch him now. Straight up into the sky. Look at that old Waco. It says, let's get over the top. And a nice tight loop, ladies and gentlemen. That's the way it is. You better believe it. He starts out that way every time, and it just gets wilder. And now, straight up into the sky, puts a roll in that airplane. You got it. 3/4 of a roll on the way up. He pivots on his own axis and straight down out of the sky. He snaps that airplane. What can I say? Get your cameras out, because if you're quick, you might be able to get a picture, ladies and gentlemen. You got it right down on the deck. Look Look at that. He pulls back, right, lady. I mean, this is something that I always enjoy because he snaps that airplane just one more time and says, I'm going to go get some altitude. Ladies and gentlemen, Jimmy Franklin was raised on a ranch near Lovington, New Mexico, capable of flying when he was 8 years old. Does that grab you? Taught himself aerobatics when he was 12 years old. I mean, he's been doing this stuff ever since. And only getting wilder and hairier and woollier, and here he comes from the left. I mean, the pedal to the metal, the mystery ship says, let's do it over Sussex. Rolls on his back. Watch that ribbon disappear right out in front of you. He grabbed the ribbon right off the deck with the tail of that airplane. Do you see it hanging there? That is the lowest ribbon cut in the world. Any lower, and you don't fly the rest of the day. I tell you, nobody in the world has ever attempted a ribbon cut that low except Jimmy Franklin, the Wild Waco Man. And he keeps right on going. When an airplane should stop flying, he pulls up further. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is again. Look at that. Outstanding clarinet down. Okay, and he snaps it one more time. Let's do it. You know what a snap roll is. It's an out-of-control maneuver for a minute. Yank the stick back, kick rudder, hang on to your garter belt because we're just getting started. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready. I think he's at altitude. There is one puff. There is two puffs. Get ready now. Go with him. Jimmy Franklin threw the whole caboodle into a flat spin. The first thing we're going to see is a series of snap rolls. There's one time, two times, three times. Are you ready? Get ready now, ladies and gentlemen. And he snaps it on the way down. Watch him now as he moves back up into a lump shavak. That's a tumbling maneuver totally out of control. Watch that airplane. It will flip and flap and tumble end for end, and it will wind up on its back. Just about now. Watch it. He'll give it a shot of throttle. That'll bring the nose up, and here we go. Listen how weird it sounds. We are flat. There's one time. There's two times. We're flat. We're coming down, ladies and gentlemen. Only Jimmy Franklin can do that. I mean, he's here. He's here. He's low. He is about ready to scare you to death. I mean, it don't get any better than that. You know it. Okay, stage center. He was also has a number of movie credits. You saw this man in Three Amigos. You saw him in Pancho Barnes. You saw him in a lot of movies that you don't even know. You were looking at the great Jimmy Franklin, ladies and gentlemen. And a little later today, he's going to put Lee Oman on the wing and do it all over again. Straight up into the sky, the big octagon. We call it the stop sign in the sky. Watch him make a great big eight-sided loop. You better believe it, right on the deck. And then he rolls it on the bottom. Now that's what I call wild and woolly. It don't get any wilder and it don't get any woollier. Look at him pull through on the inside. We call that an inside Humpty Bump, and he rolls out on the down line. A 4-point hesitation roll. He stops that airplane 4 distinct times. You think that don't take a lot of experience, a touch. You know, we call a pilot that's really good a good stick. And that's what Jimmy Franklin is. One fine stick, ladies and gentlemen. You know it. It don't get any finer. There he is, disappearing behind that bush. Comes out over the top. That's how low he was. Pulls up over the top again. The Waco Mystery Ship says, you are working me today special. It's the last day of Sussex. We better give him the best show we can give him. And that's exactly what he's doing. There he is, a nice tight turn. Rolling, ladies and gentlemen. And I do doubt for a minute that he will continue a rolling turn. Try rubbing your head, try rubbing your belly, try chewing gum all at the same time. And that's what he's doing when he does a rolling turn. We can hear him, but we can't see him because that's how low Jimmy Franklin is. A rolling 360-degree turn. That is Harry. And again to your left. He pulls straight up into the sky. We hammerhead out. A hammerhead is when you go up as far as you can. When the airplane stops going up, your kick rudder comes straight down on your own axis. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, from the left, putting it down very gently. You watch and see what Jimmy Franklin does after he's on the ground. Now, you guys that have seen him before, don't you tell. You just stay shh now. You folks that haven't seen him, you watch this. He keeps the tail in the air. This is the kind of control we're looking at. He stops that airplane, turns it completely. Watch him now. The tail comes back up. He looks directly at you. Salutes you, ladies and gentlemen. That's his salute to you, you great crowd. He's also going to take care of that tractor guy for us. Watch him give that guy a blast of smoke. We'll just make that tractor guy catches it. I mean, that's the end of him. Ladies and gentlemen, those of you that haven't seen him before have seen the very best. Those of you that have saw him again, and you saw the very best. My name is Jerry Van Camp, and I'm coming back 2 or 3 more times a day to fire you up. Did you have a good time?
Uh-oh. What's going on? Now, it's sitting there, and the wheel's apparently stuck because I see the tail coming up in the air when he brings the power up. Stan, you're going to have to get out maybe and, I don't know, push it or something. Somebody's going to have to do something down there. He comes. There's Stan's going to see what's going on. He may have a brake hung up or something like that. He's looking around the back, says, looks all right to me. A little push on it there. All right, I guess he's back in the airplane because there it comes up. Stan, is that you running around down there? Stan, if you're not in the airplane, who is in the airplane? Stan, the farmer is in the airplane? Oh, no! No, oh no, we're gonna have a flying lesson now. Wait, now we're gonna have to work on this to see what that stick that you're pushing and pulling on in there is, yeah, that's what happens when you do that. Yeah. No, see, you're supposed to fly, don't fly toward the trees, farmer. Farmer, not toward the trees. Not toward the trees. Now, can you do anything? No, don't push too hard on the stick. See, when you do, here's what happens. Way down, and watch out for the trees. Oh, dear. All right, now, see the grass in front of you down here. I don't want you to look over quite that much. And you got to go straight. You can't go sideways. No, you can't go. Cubs don't fly sideways, farmer. See, and especially with their nose way up in the air. Yeah, that's the grass down there. Not toward the airplanes, not toward Stan. Gee whiz. No, see, I don't want you to push the stick over when you're back around the trees. Right, you just kind of hold it level. No. See, that's not level, and that's not straight. Look at him just hanging up there in the air, and all we need is for him. Come down. There you go. Come on down. Don't head toward me, though, okay? No, I didn't mean for you to pull back on the... You can't loop a Cub. You can't do that. He just did something you can't do. Yeah, I'd holler, too, if I was you. What the... Oh, yeah, same to you. Boy, farmer's showing off, isn't he? Watch the trees. Will you please watch the airplanes? Will you please watch the ground? Will you please get back on the ground? On the ground. There you go. You got the power pulled back. All right, he's got to be running out of gas pretty soon. But I'd rather he didn't run out of gas back behind those trees. Or in the middle of those trees. Of course, that'd get him stopped, wouldn't it? Come on now. Here you go. Right there. There you go. That's good. See? You're going to get that right back on the ground there. Look at that. No, back, down on the ground, up in the air. Oh. Come on, down, not too much, not too much, not too much. Stan says, whoa, doggies. Yeah, same to you. Keep your hand off that throttle now. Get that airplane turned around and stopped. No, see, I told you keep your hand off the throttle. That's not, yeah, wig wag. We saw that. What a show off. Stan, look out, he's coming at you. See if you can grab the strut when he goes by there. Maybe you can stop him. Hang on to the airplane. Stan, hang on. Do not let him take off again. Hang on, Stan. You're our man of the hour. Farmer, get out of there. Get away from that airplane. Stan, get him. Ladies and gentlemen, you may have guessed by now, that ain't no Farmer. Meet Roger Leonard, the master of the J3 Cub. Here comes Samson, Oscar, and tow. And away we go. And rolling now. Jim Roberts, the fellow you saw fly the blue and yellow laser 200 just a little bit ago. This time gets into his other faithful steed, his Long Easy, a two-place composite. Very unusual looking airplane, as you can see as he lifts off. There's certainly no mistaking that it is a Burt Rutan design. With the canard up front, little wings out front. Actually, it's kind of like having the tail in front and the wing in the back. It's a pusher engine, pusher prop, 160 horsepower. And again, it's one you could build yourself. And think of the satisfaction of saying, I built this airplane, and here I am at the Sussex Airshow flying it. So get ready, ladies and gentlemen, for Jim Roberts, Sussex own, and the Long Easy.
I only hope that you can hold me now, till I can gain control. There are some turns where
You notice a little spoiler hanging down under the bottom of the airplane, right under Jim's seat. That isn't a trapdoor so he can drop his, used lunch bag out there or anything. It's actually a flap spoiler like to kind of slow him down. Ladies and gentlemen, Sussex own Jim Roberts.
Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, the performance you are about to see is something very special. It'll be a change from the roar and thunder to delicate silent flight performed by Oscar Bosch. If you look up in the sky overhead, you can see him there circling under tow. And in a little while, Oscar will release to be on his own to demonstrate how beautiful flight really is. But first, I'd like to tell you just one of his incredible stories, a story called From Tyranny to Freedom, a tribute on silent wings. It is difficult to imagine the circumstances. High in the sky over Berlin in 1945, an Austrian flying a Focke-Wulf 190 fighter for the German Air Force collides with a Russian fighter. Moments later, he's a prisoner of war after his 120th and last combat sortie. Against all odds, he escapes from his Russian captors and in the process evades almost certain death in their hands. More than 40 years later, he's flying a sailplane at our air show today in a graceful aerial ballet to the tune of Born Free and the poem High Flight by John Gillespie McGee. The saga of flying from wartime tyranny to peace and liberty is an epic not many are fortunate enough to share with others. When Oscar Bosch appears before thousands of airshow enthusiasts, he flies in appreciation and tribute to his own good luck. Those of us who watch him perform at our airshow today are made more cognizant of our freedom through the beauty of Oscar's aerial artistry and the story that is behind it. Slipped the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter-silvered wings. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds and done 100 things you have not dreamed of, wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence. Hovering there, I've chased the shouting wind along and flung my eager craft through footless halls of air. Up, up the long, delirious, burning blue, I've topped the wind-swept heights with easy grace, where never lark nor even eagle flew. And while with silent lifting mind, I've trod the high, untrespassed sanctity of space, put out my hand and touched the face of God. Oscar's setting up for his landing. You will notice that the ASW-15 sailplane has just one wheel right under the middle of it. You will also notice that it is extremely controllable because of that huge 50-foot wingspan. He has the spoilers out, or will have shortly. Hoping to carry it a little farther down the runway here. There we go.
Notice how controllable this sailplane is. He puts it on the ground. He doesn't have the spoilers deployed at this time. Notice it'll stay upright until it is almost completely stopped. Finally, as it slows down to about 3 miles an hour, right in there, bloop, somebody catches the wingtip and keeps it from falling over. Now let's wait for Oscar to get the canopy off, and there it comes. Get his harnesses undone. And Jerry, over to you.
Thank you, Bill. There are 4 of them right now. You are looking at the Stearman, the World War II primary trainer that trained more World War II fighter and bomber pilots than any other airplane in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, from the right, Red Baron Frozen Pizza proudly presents the Red Baron Flying Circus. 4 daring young men in their flying machines known as the Red Baron Stearman Squadron. Watch what they do. The noses will come down. We will sacrifice altitude for air speed. Ladies and gentlemen, we need about 140 miles an hour. In diamond formation, we'll show you a 1930s diamond formation loop. Watch them and get your cameras ready, because we're going to do it over Sussex right now.
Ready, go.
Unit maintaining about 1.5 positive G's. They pull up and over at a beautiful diamond loop, ladies and gentlemen. It looks so good, we're going to do it one more time.
Over. Ready,
Again, back pressure on the stick. Again, pulling up and over the top. This time we'll turn away from you 90 degrees.
ready.
And now we'll turn it into Airshow. Straight up into the sky where Marilyn Monroe lives. All 4 of those airplanes go up. Ladies and gentlemen, when they stop, they pull back. We call that an inside Humpty Bump.
Ready, pull.
And we're going to turn that into great big 1930s loops in the sky. Yeah, that's the way it was in 1930. We're just barely getting started.
Hold on.
Get ready with your cameras, ladies and gentlemen, because you're looking at a beautiful maneuver to take a picture of. The Red Baron Stearman Squadron says, let's do it over Sussex with a cascade roll. In trail, half Cuban 8s.
Break 1, break 2, break 3, break 4.
Half Cuban 8 is 5/8 of a loop. They roll out on the 45-degree down line. That's what they're doing, see? Those are in-trail barrel rolls. In-trail barrel rolls, ladies and gentlemen. And now 4 airplanes go straight up into the sky, and you're going to see 4 hammerhead turnarounds. Each airplane goes up as far as it can. When it stops going up, they pivot on their own axis and come straight back down. That's a hammerhead. We're going to show you slow rolls now. 4 slow rolls. We're going to turn that into reverse half Cubans. I told you a half Cuban 8 was 5/8 of a loop. They're putting the roll in on the way up. That's why it's called reverse. And now 4-point hesitation rolls. Each one rolls 4 times and stops, ladies and gentlemen. That good sound that you heard back in 1930. You got it. We're just getting started now, and I hope you keep your cameras ready, because we're going to do a lot of good things that Uncle Whiskers didn't know that airplane would do when he bought them. Ladies and gentlemen, high in the sky from your left, in diamond formation one more time. We're going to pounce on you and entertain you with 4 World War II standard biplanes up and over the top on a great big diamond formation barrel roll. You better believe it. Look at the position they're in. Absolutely perfect in a big diamond formation barrel roll. Now we're going to turn them around with a World War II wing over. Again, we'll come back down at about 140 miles an hour and do a big 1930s diamond loop in the sky. You know, there's an old saying, if you want to go up, you pull a stick back in a ceremony. If you want to go down, you pull it back further. Up and over the top, they're going to turn away from you. Get your cameras out. Here's a good one. Straight up into the sky, ladies and gentlemen. All 4 airplanes, we call it a diamond cluster hammerhead. And they're going to pivot at the same time, and you might want to get a picture of that. That's a nice thing to take home. Went's the way it was back in 1930 when the biplane was truly king of the sky. Hi, Mr. John Bowden, Mr. Steve Thompson, Mr. Randy Drake, and Mr. Jim Sonny Lovely. Up and over on a 5/8, and they'll make a 90-degree turn away from you. And what we're going to do is get them back together for a final shot. Okay, I'm going to bring them by. In diamond formation, they'll tilt the wings towards you. This makes a pretty picture, so you might want to take it. From your left, our final pass, Red Baron Frozen Pizza, and it is good stuff, proudly says to you, thank you for inviting us. Take a shot of a legend come alive. This is another era. This is another time, and a time that I don't want you to ever forget. Ladies and gentlemen, the biplane salutes you, Sussex 94. My name is Jerry Van Camp, and on behalf of Red Baron Frozen Pizza and my lovely wife who travels with me and all of our grandchildren and all of our great-grandchildren, the whole work says thank you for letting us have fun with you. Hope you had a good time.
Here it comes on the takeoff roll. Let's see how he does in getting it off the ground. Radio control. Keep it straight. Wobbling around a little bit, but radio control usually does that till you get the feel for it. Pretty nice climb out. And yeah. Not too bad though. Nose over a little bit. He's doing all right. Pulls it up into the air. And let's see him fly some aerobatics with this thing. And we'll follow him through here a little bit. There's a hammerhead. And back he comes down toward the center. Hey, he's doing pretty good. Look at this. He's got to do a 4-point roll. He's getting pretty good. Got it up there to 3 and 4. Look at this, a rolling 360-degree turn. Is that what he's going for here? Sure looks that way. Boy, how many of you that fly radio control even want to try this? 360-degree turn roll in the airplane. I'll tell you what, I'm pretty impressed. By golly, that's pretty slick, isn't it? The world's largest radio-controlled model airplane. What's all the smoke out there, Paul? Paul, what's with all the smoke? You got the airplane on its edge and your control unit's smoking. Paul, we got another one over here, right? Do we? Give it to him. Come on, Paul, run faster. What? Your airplane is now flying itself. This is not good. No, just give him the unit. Go fly the airplane. What do you mean you can't get control of it? He's running all over the place. No, so you're not supposed to run and catch it. The box is supposed to make it fly. Have you got it yet, Paul? No, good. Meanwhile, your other unit's burning up out here. We get an extinguisher on that. Have you got it? What? Oh, great. Don't mess up your model. You know, especially something that big. Side slip, must have it under control. Can't see it for the jump plane. Wait a minute, it's down over the runway. It's safely on the runway. Now, if you get it slowed down, no, it isn't on the runway, it's off again. Down. There you go. All the wheels on the runway. All the wheels on it now, slow down. Don't try to grab it right now, it's going a little fast, okay? What do you mean now you don't have control of it again? The thing is going to wind up down here in somebody's house. And there's a guy who lives right down there at the end is not going to like that over his mantle, especially when it comes through the wall to get there, you know? All right, good. Looks like you might have it. He's going to get closer to it. He's not taking any chances. Going to run right on down there. There he goes. On down there. Get control of this thing. Yeah, that's close enough now. Oh, good. Fall. If I were you, I'd run. I think you made it mad. I think you made it mad, Paul. The dummy is after you. Look out. There go your shorts. In more ways than one. Boy, is he getting his exercise today. Can you grab onto it maybe and stop it before it runs over you or somebody else again? Just hang on to it. Prop stopped. It must run out of gas. He's going, phew. Paul, oh, wait a minute. The canopy's opening. Folks, we suckered you again. Getting out of the canopy of that airplane is Paul Ordini. He was flying it all the time. Give him a big hand. Nice job, guys. Now, how many of you were fooled by that? Raise your hands. Okay, all the rest of you didn't raise your hands. You're fibbing. Now, Roger is going to go on out around to the other end of the airport and come back down over the runway. Sitting on the end of the runway down there is Stan Steely-Nerved Man. He's not just sitting there by himself. He's in a pickup truck. And atop that pickup truck is a specially built platform that is 8 feet across and 20 feet long. They call it TWA, the Teeny Weeny Airport. And what Roger is going to try to do is land that Piper Cub on the top of the pickup truck while it's moving. The big trick here is to get them both going 50 miles an hour. Then the big trick is to battle this wind and set that Cub down and land it on top of the pickup truck. Now there he comes around onto what passes for his final. They've tried this over 3,000 times, and we say tried it because they never know whether it's going to work or not. And here he comes. He's right over top of Stan the Man. Stan starts rolling the pickup truck. Roger just hanging there in the air. The pickup truck accelerates away from him. He says, wait a minute, wait for me. There's the pickup truck roll along. Roger Leonard has the Cub right overhead. Fighting that wind. Boy, that wind is vicious for him today. Vicious wind. Hanging right up there, fighting with the wind. Look at that, right on the end of the ramp. And he rolls it forward on the first try on this windy day. Now the trick is to stop. Boy, I want to tell you, that is some flying in that wind, because that Cub is a light airplane. It's like a kite out there today. Now he's going to get down here, and Stan has to stop real careful or we chew up Paul's new runway and mess up the nose of the Cub. Neither of those things do we want to happen. So Stan stops real careful. Here you go. Okay, Roger's all set as Bobby Yonkin goes by. Okay, here comes Roger Leonard and the Cub atop the truck, the Teeny Weeny Airport. Let's see what happens as he comes tearing down the runway, getting up to speed. The tail is up. The wheels are still in the chocks. He says, I'm gone, bye-bye. And there goes the airport on down the road. Now the airport's going faster than he is. Yeah, hi there, Roger. Wave to us. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Roger Leonard and the Teeny Weeny Airport. This is not the stealth bomber, but the stealth F-117A fighter, single-seat fighter bomber, built by Lockheed, the world's first operational stealth aircraft. There were only 59 of these things that were ever made. They called it the Black Jet in the Air Force. It has quadruple redundant fly-by-wire controls, very sophisticated navigation and attack systems. Went operational in '83, but was kept a big secret for somehow until 1988. And it was a stealth that dropped the first bomb on Baghdad during the Gulf War, 3 in the morning, January 17th of 1991. During that war, they hit chemical and nuclear weapons storage areas and fields and communication centers galore. Saddam Hussein, this is your wake-up call. The F-117A Stealth was the only aircraft routinely assigned to targets within Baghdad city limits. Stealth fighters made up less than 3% of the Air Force planes deployed for Desert Storm, and yet they destroyed 40% of the targets hit by coalition forces, and not a single F-117 even got so much as a scratch from the Iraqi air defenses. They flew over 6,900 combat hours, dropped over 2,000 tons of ordnance. Now this time, from your left to your right. Once again, your United States Air Force F-117A Stealth Fighter. Although the jets on the aircraft make a great deal of noise when at full throttle at low altitude, you will notice that unlike many other jets, they do not produce a lot of smoke. Both the intakes and the exhausts of the engines are buried very deep inside the aircraft. Its very shape, no straight surfaces anywhere, lots of angles and all, means that it just does not reflect radar energy. That plus the materials it's made of and the fact that has that coating on it that it has. And ladies and gentlemen, that's it. How about that? The F-117A Stealth Fighter of your United States Air Force. He's off to join up with the tanker. These guys fly about 5 or 6 shows a day, going from one show to the other and hitting the fuel tanker in the sky in between.
Bobby Yonkin's guy you're going to see now. Get ready for the same kind of thing that you saw with Jimmy Franklin. Bobby Yonkin is a fantastic pilot. I've narrated for him for many years with the Twin Beach, and you've seen that fly. Most of you here, I'm sure, have. But Yonkin now is flying Samson. Remember, Samson is the dude that knocked the temple down. Well, this guy is going to knock the sky right out from under you, because that is a big Pitts, ladies and gentlemen. A great big Pitts special. Samson, and built by a guy named Steve Wolf. And Steve's wife, those people build airplanes. They thrilled air show audiences themselves for years. It's got a wingspan of 24 feet, a weight of 1,790 pounds. And it does it, ladies and gentlemen. He snaps it on takeoff. You don't see that very often. A snap roll with an airplane that big on takeoff. That is one that'll turn your crank, I'll tell you. That airplane is so fantastic. He tells me that even he is surprised every time he gets in it. An inside-outside Cuban 8. That means you'll do one positive and one negative. Watch him. He'll push up over the top. You see what I mean by pushing? That airplane is trying to get rid of him. His eyeballs are up against the windshield. That's what we call negative G's. And now, ladies and gentlemen, he'll do it positive. Straight down on the 45. Over here, he'll come around. You got it. Do the second half of that great big Cuban 8. We call that an inside-outside. No, sir, he pulls straight up into the sky, rolling all the way up. A vertical roll to a hammerhead and a triple snap on the way down. Watch him when he pivots. The airplane stops going up. He pivots on his own axis. Hoo-ha! One time. Hoo-ha! Two times and one more time. That's a triple snap roll, ladies and gentlemen. And now a 4-point roll. Watch this. You know it, one time, 2 times, 3 times, and 4 times he rolls that airplane. A big crop duster turnaround. They called it a wing over in World War II. Now we call it a crop duster, big combination barrel roll. He comes around, smoking again. Ladies and gentlemen, watch him. Is this nice or what? Now a barrel roll is a positive G maneuver. You could have a glass of Coke sitting on the dash and it wouldn't spill. That's the fact. An air barrel roll is truly a positive G maneuver. Another nice tight turn. The big old crop duster again, taking a look at your field. He does 1 1/4 rolls. Watch him. He'll roll out 1 1/4 times. You got it. Right here he stops. Into a hammerhead. No, sir, he's coming back down. He turned that into a torque roll, ladies and gentlemen. He went up there and stopped rolling up, and he came on down, and now he snaps it to the left. A one-time snap to the left, ladies and gentlemen. And we're getting ready to do a maneuver that you're going to like as he rolls on out to your right. Ladies and gentlemen, you saw Jimmy Franklin do a flat spin. And I told you then, and I'll tell you now, and I'll tell you till the day the old man here drops. That is a hairy maneuver to do. If you don't know what you're doing, you best not do it. Here's another man that knows what he's doing. Watch him. He's flat. He's flat. He's spinning flat. Listen to that same sound Franklin made. There's Franklin making that same, Youngkin making the same sound as Jimmy Franklin made, because when they're flat, that's the sounds you always hear, ladies and gentlemen. Into show center in an 8-point roll. 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, and 8 times, Jimmy, Bobby Youngkin. I'm all screwed up. I'm an old person. Straight up into the sky again. We got 2 great grandchildren. Why can't I get screwed up? Laurie, there he is, ladies and gentlemen, still penetrating that beautiful New Jersey sky. Now he pivots again, comes straight back down. And he yanks the stick back, kicks rudder, snaps it 2 times. How about that? That's what you call a breathtaking son of a gun. He snaps it on the way down. 1 1/2 slow rolls. And inside and outside he does those. Can you believe that? He's rolling, ladies and gentlemen, around to 360 inside and outside. That is so hard to do, I can't even tell you. You guys that fly know that. You can't do that unless you are good. Rolling it right and then to the left. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when he gets done here, oh, I just can't believe that. Every time I see it, Bill, it just amazes me. I mean, that is so difficult to do, I can't tell you how hard that is to do. We got a fella flying for us by the name of Tom Lomack. And Tom invented a maneuver here in a 90 horsepower clip wing Cub. He's a Red Baron pilot. He's not with us today, but he developed this. Now watch this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Womack. Slowly rolling first. Slowly rolling into a half roll. He changed his sequence here. I presume it was a question of altitude. He would have done this Womack, but he didn't do it. I presume he knows why he didn't do it. That's the thing about a professional. If he leaves a maneuver out, there's a good reason. He never leaves it out unless he needs to leave it out for safety's sake. Okay, up and over the top. Watch it now, ladies and gentlemen. Stick back, rudder kick, 1 time. Hee-haw! 1 time more. Hee-haw! That's double avalanche. 2 snaps on top of a loop, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, pushes up over into a reverse half cube and rolling all the way up, ladies and gentlemen. He will pull through on a 45-degree down line. He pulls through now, ladies and gentlemen, rolling all the way up, pulling through. This knife edge flying on the fuselage. We call that knife edge flight. That is young Mr. Bobby Yunkin, and he actually gains altitude on a 45-degree, rose to inverted. Do you know how much power that takes? What it proves, you can fly a brick if you got enough torque. And ladies and gentlemen, he pushed up 45 degrees, knife edge, 90-degree wing position. And here he is, a salute to you, rolling through stage center, saluting you, this great crowd. Sussex 94. Paul and Gene Steiger only do it right. You bet. This is the kind of air show you might have seen a long time ago when the biplane was king. And when Red Baron comes on with the Red Baron Stearman, I guarantee you I'm going to get you off of your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, inverted, a salute to you, the wing waggle. Wave at him. He salutes you with a wing waggle, and he can see you down there. You're just a-waving and having a good time, and we're going to bring him in, get him out of the airplane. Young Bobby Yunkin, an outstanding aviator. Ladies and gentlemen, he is so good. And he's flying an airplane built by Steve Wolf in about a year. Can you believe this? Wolf also built the GB with Del Benjamin. You've seen the GB fly at Oshkosh, some of that stuff. Wolf built that also, along with Cyclone. I don't know if you've ever seen Cyclone, but it's a low-wing airplane that has a big round engine, something like Samson. And Cyclone is another one of Steve Wolf's creations in the Samson.
While Bobby Yunkin makes his way in, ladies and gentlemen, here comes a 1993, 92, and 91 U.S. aerobatic champion, Patty Wagstaff. Patty Wagstaff and her extra 300. Patty pulls up over the top and back down she comes. She's going to complete a Cuban 8 for you right out front here just to get going. Just warming up. Pulls up the other side. Coming out the top. This will be the other half of the Cuban 8. Coming down, rolls with a 2-point roll to complete that Cuban 8. And out she goes to the other side. Now, something she calls the daisy chain. Snap rolls all over the place. Coming back down, we're going to get another half Cuban 8. Only this is going to be an outside half Cuban 8. Well, she goes through here and gives you the 4-point roll. Out the other side, inverted. Pushing, pushing, pushing all the way around. As Jerry said a little bit ago, that's where the airplane tries to ram you right out of there. Here she comes over the top. Watch her snap roll that airplane coming down. Boy, does she love to snap roll. And comes out on the inverted and goes right into the octagon loop. This will be the 8-sided stop sign in the sky. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is what it takes to make a champion, and Patty Wagstaff is every inch the champion. The airplane she used to fly is now at the Smithsonian, one of the few aerobatic airplanes there. Gone into an outside Cuban 8, half Cuban 8. 4-point roll on the way down. Let's watch it and count them. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And down she comes towards show center. And moving right on into what she calls the avalanche. Watch it as we go up over the top. And snap roll, snap roll, snap roll, snap roll. Oh, baby, am I losing lunch. Coming right back down at you, gaining some speed, giving up that altitude. Now let's take the altitude back as she goes straight up in the air, and what she calls the twister hammerhead. One way, then the other, and right in here we hang the airplane on the prop, all 330 horsepower, working hard, over she goes into hammerhead. Coming right back down, looking for that show center. How in the world do they know where it is? But there it is, she's found it, and she's got the speed up. Gone into a square loop this time, and let's watch it as it develops. There we go, square off that side. Over the top. will square off that side. Throw in a couple of snap rolls and come back down and square off this side. Diving down, gaining tremendous speed down through here. And around she goes at the other end, making that turn on your right, coming back at you right to left this time. Diving way down in there to get that speed up. Here we go, the 8-pointer. There's 2, there's 3, and 4. Now 5, 6, 7, and over to 8. Patty, as we said, is the National Aerobatic Champ for 3 years running, and as a matter of fact, is the first woman ever to be the National Aerobatic Champ. This airplane, by the way, has a roll rate of 400 degrees a second and can climb to 4,000 feet a minute. Cruising speed is only about 180, and the airplane empty only weighs 1,150 pounds. Not very heavy airplane. Gonna lay an 8-sided loop on you now, and a half roll on each side of it. You think that's not difficult? Ha! Watch this now. There we come through the bottom. Got that speed up. Up we go. There's the half roll. There we go. There's the half roll. Once again, a half roll. We're halfway there. Here we go over the top. We need a half roll here, Patty. There you are. Come around that other corner. There's another one. Here we come down this side. There's the half roll. Here we are here, and there's the half roll. Right out the bottom she goes, inverted. The 8-sided loop with a half roll on each side. Up she goes. Now watch the snap rolls. There's one. There's another. Hanging it right up there. Hanging it up there. Hammerheads it over and starts back down. Here she comes once again now. We're going to get us a half loop here, but with a twist. There she goes up into that half loop. Coming over the top of the half loop. Snap roll, snap roll, snap roll, snap roll. Now watch Patty Wagstaff turn this airplane 360 degrees in front of you while rolling viciously all the way around, and not a bit of variance. It is a perfect circle. Do you know how difficult it is to fly in a circle and then to roll that airplane all the way around, maintaining the same altitude and the same turn rate? Ladies and gentlemen, the magnificent Patty Wagstaff. Here she goes again, hanging that airplane right up there on that propeller. And coming over the top, inverted. The wheels up, her head down. Let's get right side up. Come right on back through here. Got the speed. Off she goes to your left, and once again, straight up into the air. Snap rolls, snap rolls. She doesn't fly anywhere without doing a snap roll, does she? Just hanging on the prop. Look at that, just like a helicopter. Punches right out of the top of that. And back down she comes again towards show center. And she goes out to the right to make a big turnaround. This is what it takes to make a champion. Patty and her husband Robert, as I said, live up in Anchorage, Alaska most of the year. Here she comes, folks, from your right to your left in that Laser 300S. Now we're going to pull her nose up, put it on the edge, and look at that, a wing wag. While in knife edge flight, flying on the fuselage, not on the wings. Says, hi, Sussex, I'm glad to be here. And we're so glad to have her here with us for the very first time. Ladies and gentlemen, your aerobatic champion, the incredible Patty Wagstaff. The airplane she flies is mostly made of composites. Only about a 25-foot wingspan, just 20 feet long, and as we said, empty, only weighs about 1,150 pounds. Even when you put all the gas in it, that's only 45 gallons of gas, which is about another 270 pounds. She holds commercial and multi-engine and seaplane pilot licenses and is a flight instrument instructor, and was the 91-92, as we said, champ. She's flown here in the United States and in Canada, England, Switzerland, France, Russia, and Argentina. Smooth, precise, all that it takes to be a champion. And what a graceful airplane, too. B.F. Goodrich Aerospace, of course, a sponsor. Patty flies on Michelin tires made by B.F. Goodrich. And here she comes back into the center of the parking area. Let's wait till we get her stopped. By the way, be sure you meet this lady before you leave here today at the autograph tent, which means, of course, you got to get a program so you can get her to sign it. She's such a swell lady, in addition to being probably one of the most outstanding pilots ever to set foot in an airplane. And she's still trying to get into her parking place down there. Jerry, can you see her?
Yeah, they're working their way slowly into that parking area. She's not stopped the airplane yet. She's still running.
Now I see the propeller stop down there. Let's wait till the canopy opens. She's working on it. The canopy is open, and here she is, ladies and gentlemen, Patty Wagstaff.
Lee Ullman is the boy's name. Well, he's not a boy, he's a man. He's an outstanding wing walker. He's not just a guy that stands on top of that airplane. He will move from the wing where he's standing. He'll move down to the landing gear and hang straight from that pole down there. He'll be on top of the airplane. He'll be all over it. Ladies and gentlemen, pedal to the metal, Mr. Jim Franklin. And on this side, Mr. Lee Ullman laying on the javelin. Now, the javelin is that wooden thing that separates the flying wires on a biplane. That's called the javelin. And he's laying there flat down on that. As we pull up and over, ladies and gentlemen, Lee Ullman is taking about as many G's as the human body can stand. Watch and see what I mean. Jimmy Franklin does everything with him on there that he did without the young man on that wing. And he's still maintaining a positive G-force, and Lee Ullman grabbing on. Look at him, there he is again, hanging on tight. This young man will take as many G's as the human body can sustain today. He pivots on his own axis, straight down out of the sky. Lee Ullman laying flat yet on the javelin. You know, this young man was a technical advisor for the movie Terminal Velocity, so you are talking to somebody that does a lot of Hollywood work and a young man that knows exactly what he is doing. Now we're climbing to about 1,000 feet. We're going to get some altitude. Smoke is on. He's hanging upside down. Take a look underneath those wheels. Ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at Lee Ullman hanging there with his bare knuckles as white as they can be. Up and over the top. When you look, he'll still be there. Look at that. There he is. Now, if you don't think he's got a grip, you just shake hands with him someday, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, he's glued to that thing, and it's trying to shuck him. It's trying to throw him off because it's got positive G's all the way. It's not dragging him into that airplane. It's trying to get rid of him right now. There he is, upside down. Look at those legs wiggling back and forth. Lee Ullman hanging upside down on that airplane. Oh, Lord. I can only wish it was my sister-in-law. I'd just be a grinning and a gumming away, watching old Chubby fall out of the sky. Oh, Lordy, that'd be fun. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, watch for those 3 puffs of smoke that I told you about a little while ago. When you see them, you know it's going to start happening. Okay, the smoke is on. Ladies and gentlemen, watch and see what happens as we snap that airplane. Lee Ullman is on top. There's a snap roll as he starts spinning out of the sky now. An old-fashioned tailspin, they used to call them. Ladies and gentlemen, in the 1930s. Right now, he needs about 150 to 60 miles an hour, and Lee Ullman has got all that pressure in his face. As we go straight up into the sky, rolling on the way up, this is that torque roll I told you about. Now, as it stops rolling, it is going to fall back down, and Lee Ullman gets that big sensation. Oh, he says that feels different. I mean it. And we snap it 1 time, 2 times. Oh boy, that's got to feel different. Look at him up there, just reaching up. And he is hanging on. Again, there are the puffs of smoke I told you about. Get ready for action when you see those. And what happens is a spin right away. Pulls it up, does a 2-turn spin. Again, building up a head of steam, ladies and gentlemen, pedal to the metal. The big mystery ship, the big Waco biplane says, let's go straight up into the sky. Again, you can see Oman very plainly outlined against that sky. We pull through again on one of those real tight Humpties, inside Humpties, and we start spinning that airplane 2 times, heading down toward where you and I are. And one of those real tight 1930s loops that only Jimmy Franklin could do. It felt so good, though. He said to Lee Oman, let's go straight up again. There's Oman looking up like you can't believe. Look how tight he pulls that through, ladies and gentlemen. Only Jimmy Franklin can do that. I've never seen an airplane pull through that tight. I mean, that airplane is unreal, and Jimmy Franklin is even more unreal the way he flies it. They're low enough now so you can see Lee Oman very plainly. You might want to get some pictures. Look at how he pulled that through. And now, as they come by again, I do believe it's going to be inverted, and I do believe you're going to see Lee Oman letting out some yellow ribbon pretty soon. They're getting a little altitude again there as they pull high up over the hill. Ah, what a beautiful. Those wings against the sky, ladies and gentlemen, right on the deck. Jimmy Franklin with Lee Oman hanging upside down, and watch now. As they roll through it 4 times, they stop that airplane. I mean, hesitation rolls. If you don't think that is something that Oman is experiencing, ladies and gentlemen, he stands up there waving at you like it's nothing, but I want you to know that is very, very difficult. And what it takes is a real athlete. It takes a super athlete to sustain those G-force. What you see is his feet, not his hands, sticking straight up toward the sky. There's Lee Oman doing his headstand. Yeah, what next? Oh boy, we're going to do another one now. We're going to do a flag. These are, and you know what I enjoy about this part of the thing? It's kind of the finale, but what I enjoy is these things look like you want them to look. You know, imagination goes a little bit here, and you're seeing a Mercury hood ornament, and you'll see the flag. We didn't take an intermission. We just got so plumb wound up, we kept right on going, Billy. The Bill and Jerry show is just a honking, I'll tell you. Okay, there's Lee Oman again, ladies and gentlemen. You bet the flag is there. And he's pointing down, saying that is the pilot sitting in that seat. His name is Mr. Jimmy Franklin. And he does it better than anybody does it. Let me tell you that. You know, Margaret and I travel together every week all summer. We start in March. Our air show season is long. We met Gene and Paul Steiger about 10 years ago at our International Council of Air Shows. And Gene and I, or rather, both Gene and Paul and I and Margaret have been excellent friends. We developed a real kind of friendship. Here he is now, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Lee Oman, as he goes by with a handshake, upside down, shaking hands with a pilot. Oh, those tight turns, and when Oman looks down sideways, he's looking directly at the ground. The wing's almost vertical. But you see, again, the real sincere part about air shows is to have a guy that can fly really low and really wild, and you know he's safe. And that's the way Jimmy Franklin is. You'd never get Lee Oman on the wing if he didn't believe that he was flying with the best. Ladies and gentlemen, side slipping in now, the big Waco mystery ship with the guy driving it, Jimmy Franklin, touching down very gently. And the guy on this side, Mr. Lee Ullman, look at that, ladies and gentlemen, on the javelin. And now, when they stop, Lee Ullman will disappear because Franklin will give him a shot of that smoke. Ullman may not be smoking cigarettes, but he's smoking this stuff, I'll tell you that. Because when they go by, well, Franklin's giving him a deal here today. Yesterday, he covered him up. I mean, today he's being very gentle. Now I guess he's going to drive him into a little bit of it. Lee likes to suck in a little of that stuff. That's air show smoke. Uh-oh, there he goes. Goodbye, Lee. Nope, he's going to, well, we see him for a minute and then we don't. Yeah, he didn't make him disappear, Bill. Yesterday, he plumb disappeared. Ladies and gentlemen, let's wave at him. Let's make some noise out there. They can't hear it, but I want you to know your wave he can see. Mr. Lee Ullman, they're going to taxi back up into here when they get out of that airplane. I want you to do like people do in Sussex for years now, hoop it up.
And let's once more enjoy the aerial artistry of the Bud Light 200. And now let's go to the cockpit and talk to Leo Laudenschlager.
And what a pleasant good afternoon it is. Well, my friend, I was going to say Jerry, but sounds like we've changed narrators there, Bill. Anyhow, the cockpit's down, all the canopy is done and locked, the cockpit checks are done. It's showtime, my friend. On behalf of Bud Light and Anheuser-Busch of St. Louis, Missouri, I'd like to welcome this wonderful air show audience. Power's coming up. Of course, Sussex is my old home, and in some ways still my home. It's great to see all my friends. It's showtime. Let's give them a good one.
And the Bud Light 200 powered by specially prepared Matatuck Aviation Power Plant. And ladies and gentlemen, originally from Sussex, and always here at the Sussex Air Show, from your left, Leo's signature takeoff with a 3 1/4 snap roll. Watch him. Here we go. 1, 2, and ended at knife edge. All right, and he'll move right out of that, and he's going to go right into a half loop. Over the top he comes. Watch him as he comes over the top, inverted. There's the half a loop coming down. Snap roll. He's going to roll it nice and easy first, though. Nice, easy rolls coming down. But watch it. There's that accelerated snap roll. Knife edge on the way out of here. Now he's upside down. And now he's pulling, well, actually pushing there, wouldn't he be? And he goes right on up there. Takes a quarter roll into the top. Comes out the top of that loop, half loop coming down. Rolling to the right. And throws a snap roll in as well. Back comes the stick this time. A lot of G's down through the bottom as that laser goes over the top of Leo Laudenschlager. Inside, snap rolls it through the top twice. And down he goes the other end. He's got the speed. He's going to give it a 5/8 loop. And we should get a 4-point roll coming down out of this. Let's see what we get here. Here he comes. He's upside down. There's 1 of it, 2 of it, 3 of it, 4 of it. He's coming through upside down. Gravity says, come on, Leo, fall out. He said, no, I'm staying in. I'm going to make it even harder. I'm going to take it out around the outside. Watch him up on top now. He hadn't beaten himself up near enough yet. Gets a nice little roll right up in there. Gets it inverted. Coming right back down here. And heads out again to your left, but he ain't gone far because it won't be long until he takes her right back up in the air again and takes a full roll and turn all the way up there. Watch him. He's going to hang it on the prop. It's hanging. It can't fly anymore, Mama. Well, you know what happens when you can't fly anymore. Back he comes. Tail slide down through smoke. Not flying, going backwards, but now flying once again. Everything under control. And right back towards show center comes for what he calls a computer roll. Get a load of this, folks. You'll know why. Whoa, whoa. Oh, no, wait, no. Wait, we go that way. Now, that way. I don't know where I'm going here. That airplane is rolling all over the sky, and somehow he manages to remember which way is up or down. The computer roll. Right up he goes again, inverted over the top. And inside, Cuban 8, just to get turned around and headed back toward you. Coming down, he'll roll it to the right side up. Up he goes. Now watch as he rolls on the torque of this engine. Rolling on the torque of that engine. Up he goes, up he goes. And up at the top, just hanging on it, starts to tail slide. But now we got power on. We go upside down. We flip around, and down we come. Once again, off to your left goes Leo Laudenschlager, up, up, and up with a 3/4 roll to the left, and a roll of right to 1/4, and pulling into a vertical down line. And there he comes, right straight back down. Now watch this one. This is something that Leo does better than anybody. It's called the Cobra Roll. You'll see why. Whoa, whoa. Uh-oh. Roll, snap rolling out of there. Just rolling that airplane all over the place. The Bud Light Laser 200. Up he goes again. This time we're going to get a 1 1/4 roll up into a hammerhead. Hanging there. See him hanging. You can also see him drifting a little bit in the wind. See the wind carrying him as he goes into that hammerhead. Coming down, we should get a 1/4 roll. And there it is. And he's going to stay on the inside for 3/4 of a loop. Got to get that speed up. Here he goes. Head to the inside, wheels to the outside. Snap roll. Goes into knife edge flight out of the top of it. Now, that's tough enough. Watch this. Inverted. Right back on, down around with a pull through. And once again, he pulls into the vertical and gives you a 4-point roll on the way up. Hangs her up there. Stalling her out. She's not flying anymore. Punches her out of there, and down he comes. Watch him coming down. Can't just come down. We got to do 3/4 of a snap roll on the way down. Get that speed up again. The altitude traded in, and right there's the speed, and up he goes. This is called a hesitation hammerhead coming up here. Throws in a bunch of rolls on the way up. There you go, kind of hanging. That's a hammerhead that didn't quite happen. Wait, there's a little more of it. Wait a minute. There's a little more of it. And there's the rest. Heading for the ground once again. Snap coming down. Snap rolling to the inside. All right, here he goes up this side. Now watch him as he comes over the top here. Snap roll, snap roll, snap roll, snap, and inverted he comes out of it. Out he goes to the far side, pulls up once again. Coming up over the top, this is going to be the S. Now watch, this will look like a big S in the sky. There's the lower part of it. And here he goes, pushing out around to get up to the second half of that S. Coming up over the top. That's called the inside-outside S. And the tip smoke comes on. And now we're going to go to the cockpit and talk once again to Leo Laudenschlager. Okay, here comes Leo Laudenschlager. And up he goes with the smoke on. It's going to be, give us your best Lumschwag. Yo! Ow! Ooh! My goodness, there went his lunch. There went tomorrow's lunch. Are you kidding me? Whew! Down he comes again. Just going up and down would be enough for me, I have to tell you. But that ain't enough for Leo. He's still got more left in him as he goes out to the right. He's going to throw a half loop in here. Half roll. Here we go. Snap roll. Snap roll. Snap roll. Gee whiz. Well, you stop that. It's making your mother nervous. And once again, Leo coming back at you from the left. Gives her an upside down roll. Here he is, folks. The wheels are up. The tail is down. The ribbon is ready. Will he hit it? What do you think? Leo is the first and only aerobatic pilot ever to do the outside snap roll ribbon cut that you just saw. Waves, hi, how are you? Ladies and gentlemen, have you seen anything like it? Leo Laudenschlager and the Bud Light 200 Laser. Now, here comes Leo for his patented landing. You wouldn't think he's on approach for landing here, would you? I mean, he's really moving it right down through there. Here he comes over the runway, and there he goes inverted, and there he goes right side up, and there he is on edge of the airplane. Is that a landing approach? Sideways, slipping it down the runway to lose some speed and altitude. You're not going to see anybody else make an approach like that one. Watch them as they come at you from the left as they begin their first maneuver. In the lead is Montaigne. And she's going to show you the slow roll, and right behind her is Danielle with a snap roll. Here's Montaigne Malay, the leader. Nice, slow, easy roll. And right behind her comes Danny. Danny gets it right down on the runway, gets that speed up, right down in the weeds, folks. Look at this. Snap roll. Woo! Danny started flying gliders at 16 and joined the French Air Force by joint agreement between the United States and France. He came to the U.S. in 52 to earn his fighter pilot's wings. In 54, his flight career has taken him from the French Air Force fighter pilot to instructor at cadet school to a member of the French Air Force demonstration team, the Patrie de France. And that's like our Thunderbirds, to also France's Unlimited Aerobatic Championship in 71 and 72. And now, of course, chief pilot for Mudry Aviation. Montaigne started flying at 19 while she was going to an aeronautical engineering school, and then entered Mudry, France as an engineer, started to fly aerobatics with Daniel in the Cap 10. They are husband and wife, the French connection. By the way, these two folks, fine folks to meet and talk to. Know you want to talk to them. They have the Bill Barber Award for Showmanship in 87, the Raleigh Cole Memorial Award for contribution to sport, aerobatic, and air show industry in 91, and the coveted ICAS Art Show Memorial Showmanship Award for just last year, 1993. They are just a couple of the nicest folks you ever meet, but also excellent pilots, and you're going to see an aerial ballet set to music that'll just stop your heart.
Of the horizon melt into the earth, the mountains illuminated and gaued with exaltation. The sky seems endless, above, beyond, and below. The earth dances as we soar towards it. Immortal men, that's who we are. We have the wings of a god, the hopes of the poor man, the goals of a god. We form wing to wing, becoming one mind, anticipating each other's moves. A feeling of so much closeness, abound, strong as the universe. I am actually floating. The person behind me is just as high. I am so happy. No other time could be so perfect. If this moment lives forever, I will live forever. This poem was written by Michelle Chaudwin for her parents, Jim and Jody.
And ladies and gentlemen, they're getting turned around and are about to come back through. You're going to see something now that you truly want to get a picture of. This is called the mirror image pass. One airplane upside down on top of the other, just as close as the props allow, and they're going to turn the whole works. Watch now as we go into mirror image flight. Precision. That is the French connection. What do you suppose happens when you take two airplanes in formation, side by side, and you do snap rolls at the same time? Is that something or what? There's Danny and Montaigne. Smoke still coming out. They're going to swing on around, and we're going to show them to you one more time. Here's Montaigne pulling up, and there's Danny pulling up. And to get turned around, we'll do a hammerhead. Now, here comes Montaigne in her Cap 10. She is going to do a 4-point roll, and right behind her in trail will be Danny with the 8-point roll. Let's watch. There's point 1 for her. Point 2, point 3, point 4. Danny is already all the way over to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Sussex 94. As always, a great pleasure. Put your hands together for the French Connection. And we have Montaigne on the ground. And here comes Danny, who taught her how to fly aerobatics. Like I said, believe it or not, that's an airplane that you can own. It's a great cross-country airplane, too, for just flying around if you don't want to do it. Wooford Hills and all that kind of stuff. It's still a wonderful airplane to travel. There's a lot of baggage space in it. And talking to Danny and Montaigne at different times during the course of the years that I've known them, they have said, Danny has said that these airplanes have created virtually no problems for them while traveling. They don't have to carry a whole lot of spare parts or anything because they're extremely reliable. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Warbirds on Parade. Tell you why this is important. During World War II, there were 300,000 warplanes made by the United States alone. And yet, on any given day in this country today, there are only about 2,000 of those airplanes left in flying condition. And the only reason there are is because of dedication by individuals and by groups, museums, what have you, who preserve them and keep them flying, in many cases with 50-year or more old parts. As an example, you cannot buy a new radial engine today for any of these airplanes. When the engine breaks, you throw it in a box with a check for anywhere from, let's say $15,000 right on up through $60,000, depending on the engine. What we're going to show you here today are a variety of aircraft that were used during World War II. We have a number of different types represented, and we'll tell you about them individually. You're going to see the B-25 Mitchell. The Mitchell, of course, famous for the Doolittle raid over Tokyo. Interesting thing about the Mitchell, a lot of interesting things. But the most interesting thing, perhaps, is that that airplane is the only one ever used as a combat airplane that was named after a person. General Billy Mitchell, who was an early air power advocate during World War I. The B-25 that's here with us today, we're proud to say, is from our friends at the Mid-Atlantic Air Museum in Reading, Pennsylvania. It'll be flown today by Russ Strine. Originally, a B-25 would have cost you all of $96,000 during World War II. That's what the government paid for them. Today, a B-25 in the condition of the one you'll see out here is worth about $450,000 to $500,000. Maximum speed on the B-25 is 275 miles an hour. It's a pretty big airplane. Can weigh in as much as 36,000 pounds loaded with bombs. Of course, they don't fly them that way anymore. Empty, about 19,000, almost 20,000 pounds. On the takeoff roll right now is a Stearman. This is a stock Stearman, and right with that is a Tiger Moth. The Stearman used extensively by the Allies. The Tiger Moth used by just about everybody else in Britain, etc. And there's the Bumblebee. And I believe that's a Czechoslovakian-built airplane. Here's another type of trainer from a later era. This is a T-34 Mentor that was built by Beechcraft. And right behind that, the SNJ, Navy version of the AT-6 Texan. And here comes the Legend Airways DC-3. This is a magnificent restoration flown today by Eric Fleming out of Concord, Massachusetts. And right behind that, you're going to see Yankee Doodle of the Yankee Air Force, a C-47. This is the military version of that airplane, used for cargo, and that means people and freight. And we got them all launched and ready to go. So here it comes, folks. Get a load of the sound of the different sound of engines. Now, you heard the C-47s. Here comes the B-25 Mitchell. R-2600s. Those are 2,600 cubic inch, 1,700 horsepower, 14-cylinder radial engines. Down at the far end now, here comes the one everybody likes, the Cadillac of the skies during World War II, ladies and gentlemen, the P-51 Mustang. Danny Calderall, formerly of the Six of Diamonds, flying that airplane today. We'll tell you a little more about that when it comes through. We want you to turn your eyes to the left once again. The first fighter ever to do over 400 miles an hour in level flight during World War II. The unmistakable shape and sound of the F-4U Corsair. As our Stearmans turn back in, let's talk a little bit about the Stearman and also the Tiger Moth that's coming through. The Stearman, of course, the lead biplane, and that's probably one of the best-known biplanes in the world. You saw the fellows flying those a little while ago here in the Red Barons. Of course, they're flying the 450 horsepower version. This Stearman is a 220-horse engine. The airplane's almost entirely covered in fabric, wood for the most part for the wings and the tube frame. Two-seat open cockpit as the T6 goes right underneath. A Tiger Moth right behind it, another fabric-covered airplane, as I said, used extensively by the British as a primary trainer. When you learned to fly in World War II, there were three different types of airplanes that you learned in. First were the primary trainers, slow and relatively easy to handle. Then the basic trainers, then the advanced trainers. The advanced trainer, for the most part, was the AT-6. There's that Legend Airways DC-3. Just such a beautiful airplane flying out here for you today. The Legend Airways plane, by the way, is going to make a pass very close to y'all down here in a little while. And when he does, I want you all to give him a wave because they have a camera in there for the video crew. It's your chance to be on video. So we'll tell you when that's going to happen. He'll come down a little closer to you here. And as he goes through, I want everybody to wave so you'll be on video. Here's a T-34 Mentor. This is based on the Beechcraft Bonanza. Only it's inline seating, and there is the B-25 Mitchell. Another unmistakable shape. Bomb bays are open. Meanwhile, our fighter pilots have climbed way up high. Now, I'm not going to say a word as they go by, and you'll hear the difference between that V12 liquid-cooled Merlin of about 1,700 horsepower and the R2800 of 2,000 horsepower on the Corsair. Two very different engines. Give a listen. That Corsair, by the way, wasn't really firing his machine guns. Well, he was, but they're not real machine guns. That's Captain Bill Dodds, and he has what are called movie cannons on that airplane. They are just like a piece of pipe with a spark plug at the end. It's fueled by propane. You pull the trigger, and it sounds just like a machine gun. You're not really allowed to have real machine guns on your airplane more than once if the FAA gets around you. Look off to your left. Here comes the AT-6 SNJ. This is the Navy version of the famous North American Advanced Trainer. In the back seat of that airplane, by the way, Wild Bill Voorhees, all of 81 years old. And Bill is a flight instructor here, as he was during World War II, but he's an instructor right here at Sussex. And he's, in fact, the fellow that solo flighted my wife, Nancy, before I had met her. Yeah, but are you enjoying the World War II airplanes, huh? These are great old planes. There's a Bumblebee down low and tearing right along. That airplane is used for a variety of number of things over in former Iron Curtain countries, still in use. There's the Yankee lady of our friends from the Yankee Air Force. And once again, the B-25 comes through. You can tell how quick they get through here, their relative speed. B-25 can move right along. Somewhere up around 270 miles an hour, still carry 4,000 or more pounds of bombs. Way high up over the hill are our fighters again, diving down at you as the T-34 goes through with the pedal to the metal. This is an airplane often used to transition pilots into jet airplanes. That's why they have the inline seating in there, and it's laid out a lot like a jet inside, as is the T-28, which isn't with us here today. Tell you, most of the Corsair, or most of the P-51s that fly today, P-51 is a single-seat airplane by and large, but right behind the pilot, there was a huge fuel tank, or full tank as the case may be, and on top of that were the radios. Well, the way they fly them today, most of them have that fuel tank out of there, and they have a passenger seat back there. You can't fly the airplane from that position, but you can sit in there and hang on for dear life. And last summer, I got the chance to do that for the first time. And I can't think of anything short of shaving my entire body and setting myself on fire that would be more fun. If you ever get a chance to take a ride in a P-51 and don't go, call me. I'll go in your place in a minute. It is spectacular. It's also one of the hottest, loudest rides you'll ever have in your life, but it's great. There's Mike Michalski and his steerman. We got Legend Airways back on the ground. I hope you got the wave in back there someplace. I got distracted. You see those DC-3s all over the place in commercial aviation. Oh, look at this P-51. Woo! Oh, mama, I'd rather be there. That was the first fighter, by the way, the P-51, that could escort the bombers all the way into Germany and bring them back again. The earlier fighters just didn't have the range. Hermann Goering said when he saw the P-51s over Berlin, he knew that the war was over. It was only a matter of time. And our SNJ safely back on the ground and doing that dance with the rudder to keep it in a straight line. You steer with the feet in the airplane. Here comes the Goonie Bird. You also notice most of these airplanes are what we call tail draggers. Conventional landing gear. They have that little wheel out on the back. Most of the private airplanes we fly today, and you see sitting over in the parking area, you'll notice, are tricycle gear airplanes. Of course, what happens in these tail draggers is when you get on the ground, like the SNJ in front of you right now, you can't see a blooming thing out front. So you got to look out the sides and kind of S-turn a little bit to make it down through there. Waving at you from that back cockpit is Wild Bill Voorhees, 81 years young. We should all hope we could make it to 81, never mind being as happy and healthy as Billy is. This Corsair that you're going to be seeing here today, probably worth somewhere in the neighborhood of, I don't know, $700,000 up. Just within the past year or so, was purchased by a fellow named Jeff Kleiman, who you may have heard of. May not have heard of him, but you've heard of his company probably if you buy leather jackets or airplane stuff like these suits we wear and things like that. He runs an outfit called The Cockpit, and he owns this Corsair that's right overhead now. Flown by Bill Dodds. Bill Dodds, formerly the leader of the Six of Diamonds. They're standing down this year, so he said, I'm going to go fly this Corsair. Watch him as he dives down here and shows you the Cuban 8 in the Corsair. In the Pacific during World War II, Corsairs shot down 2,140 enemy airplanes. They lost just 189 of theirs. That's an 11-to-1 kill ratio, and folks, that's never ever been matched by another propeller-driven fighter. There were 12,500 plus Corsairs made, and it was in production for 11 years, longer than any other U.S. prop fighter. And it also was the last piston engine fighter that was used by the U.S. Air Forces. And he's got half the Cuban 8 in. Here he goes out to the other side. You notice when you're hauled along in one of these things, that Cuban 8 takes up a whole lot of sky. Toward the end of the Corsair run, as I said, this one is an R2800, which is a Pratt & Whitney, and it's 2,800 cubic inches, 2 rows of 9 cylinders each. There was a Corsair built by Goodyear that had a 28-cylinder engine in it. They called it a corncob engine. 4 rows of 7 cylinders each. That one had a big, long nose on it, as you might suspect. The plane was armed with 650 caliber machine guns. Could also carry underwing bombs and rockets. Maximum speed 417 miles an hour. It's actually a little bit over that later in the run of the airplane. But again, a maximum speed on an airplane means that's the speed in a dive right before the wings come off. Thanks for listening so closely. And for Jerry Van Kempen, the other fellow who you were listening to today, my name's Bill Lau. We'll see you at the air show. Thanks a lot.